probably talked a few people into an S-corp and it wasn't the right decision for them. And a lot of times as a professional, people come to us and they're like, "Hey, I got this side hustle. I'm making, $120,000 a year. And what can I do to save on taxes?" And immediately I'm going, "Great, let's look at an S-corp for you." But the mistake I made was not taking the whole picture into consideration. If you have multiple sources of income, that should be factored into the decision. It's not just a decision that can be made in consideration of your business alone. Let me explain why. So people get into S corps to save on self-employment taxes most of the time. And that is because as an LLC or a sole proprietor, 100% of the net earnings from the business are going to be subject to the two taxes, the Social Security and the Medicare taxes, which totals up to about 15.3%. Now, 50% is considered the employer, 50% is the employee. However, as a LLC sole proprietor, you are deemed to be both. So you actually pay for both. And the S corp allows you to split that and say, you know what, out of my 120,000 of earnings, 40,000 of it is payroll, and the remaining 80,000 is just me with my investor hat on, not subject to self-employment taxes. So the savings ends up being that 80,000 times that 15.3%. Sounds great. But the thing that I missed is that let's say that this 120,000 is from a pretty awesome side hustle and you have a W-2 job where maybe you're making $150,000 a year in that W-2 job. Guess what? You are now using those W-2 wages to also eat up what's called the Social Security cap. And so you are essentially losing some of the value of this S election. Let's walk through an example. So if you have a W-2 of 200,000, then your Social Security obligation has already been met. Social Security is going to be collected on the first $184,500 of earned income for 2026. So you end up, your side hustle now is only subject to the 2.9% that makes up the Medicare piece, which means the value of the S corp and being able to split the earnings between ordinary income tax earnings and those earnings that are subject to payroll taxes has essentially gone down substantially. Let's say you had gone into an S corp and now you've split those earnings. You've got 40,000 of distributions. You've got 40,000 of wages. What's going to happen is that your payroll from the S corp is automatically going to have that Social Security tax withheld on it. So now you're being over withheld on your W-2 wages from your primary employer and the W-2 from your S corp. Doesn't mean that the money's lost. It ends up working as an extra tax payment when you go and file those tax returns, but it does tie up cash. And so what happens is moving into an S corp at this point is just going to push a lot of additional compliance costs. You've got the cost of payroll, you've got the cost of the separate tax return. You may have additional accounting that you have adopted because of the basis components. There could be fees that are associated for that S corp. And really, the cost of that compliance now exceeds what our savings is. The pass-through tax election program essentially allows your business to pay a portion of your state taxes, which then makes sure that you're not losing deductions on your personal return. So if that's something that could still be in play for you, I definitely wouldn't rule out the S corp because that deduction and credit program still has a lot of tax savings available. But it's just important that before you jump into an S corp to make sure that you're not just looking at the S corp or your business entity in isolation. You really need to consider how this business affects your personal taxes because it is a pass-through entity. It's going to hit your personal return at the end of the day anyway. So it's important to consider all of the aspects of your personal tax situation before deciding that, hey, I need an S corp to save on self-employment taxes. It could save you some self-employment taxes, but the compliance costs might exceed those savings. So it's just important to look at everything as a whole. If you enjoyed this content and you'd like to get more, I have a newsletter. I'm going to put up a link to the sign up for the newsletter. And please be sure to like and subscribe.